Hello, in this video we're going to discuss heaven's spaceships above Earth. So some of them are visible and you may spot them at some point. So above Earth in orbit is Holy Chassis, which is God, Mary, Jesus and the Holy Spirit's combat chassis, and which is 3,000 meters high. And the reason why they're here is because of increased tensions with Satan and his followers, who are threatening to destroy the planet, and they have a technology that's capable of doing it. Fortunately though, that capability has been sabotaged by Heaven's Special Forces, the Wraiths. So at some point, when we've dealt with Satan and his followers, you may see combat chassis come in and land on Earth. In which case, for safety, there needs to be a cordon placed around them in order to prevent people from being harmed. So a standard combat chassis is 1,500 meters high, and the cordon is 500 meters, while Holy Chassis is 3,000 meters high and the cordon is 700 meters. So it's for police and law enforcement agencies. If these craft do come in, that's the type of cordon size that you want around them, because a gust of wind can push them off balance and they can step forward or backwards. So that's why we have a cordon. So the Wraiths have aerospacecraft in the upper atmosphere and in orbit. And you'll be able to pick them out. They tend to hover and have navigation lights. So you see them just sitting there. It's not an airliner up there, that's a Wraith. Now often you'll see them at high altitude. If they come down lower, they'll turn the lights off and you won't see them. So it's particularly at night you would spot something like that. The Black Knight spaceship operates at low orbit, particularly in the southern hemisphere, but they do go to other parts of the planet. And the Black Knight removes a group of carbon monoxides which are lighter than air. So what can happen if we didn't have the Black Knight out here? The CO level up there would increase and blanket the entire planet and smother and kill everything. So that's why we have a Black Knight spaceship. Another group, which is a bit further away from Earth, around within the solar system, we've got the Shepherds, and they maintain the orbital rings of Saturn, Jupiter, Mercury and Uranus. So they keep the rings in place. They're very large spaceships. Some of them are thousands of kilometers long. They often escort satellites outside Earth's orbit and watch them. They don't do anything to them. They have a search and rescue capability. Okay, so that is one of their capabilities. But you cannot go near them if you were to send a spaceship out to Saturn, for example, or Uranus or Mercury or Jupiter and try and get a closer look. They'll move away from you. So the closest you can get is 400,000 kilometers. Okay, so that's the closest you'll get to them, and then they'll move away from you. And don't pursue them either. You waste fuel. Another spaceship that operates above Earth and within Earth's atmosphere is Melissa 347, who's a cigar-shaped spaceship. There are other spaceships like Melissa 347. Melissa 347 was involved in assisting Apollo 13. So if you recall, Apollo 13, the spaceship hit something and lost control, and the astronaut on board made the craft become more violent in a spin, and then one of the other astronauts told him to let go of the controls, and when you let go, what happened was Melissa 347 used something to halt the rotation so that they could regain control of Apollo 13. So if you know about space and space travel, taking your hands off the control of a spaceship that's tumbling won't do anything. You have to use counter thrust in order to counter the rotation, in order to stop it rotating. So it's just an introduction and a small video clip of some objects which are visible. And you'll probably find there's more out there if people look. Nothing to be afraid of. And once Satan and his followers are dealt to, you'll find the presence of the combat chassis will go. They'll return to heaven, and the wraiths will leave as well. I'm the Archangel Daniel, and I'm from heaven. Here we see Holy Chassis in low orbit in relation to the moon's position. So that object is 3,000 meters tall. This object moves. It's not always at this position, at this hour. This object looks like a star. It's not. It's a Wraith era spacecraft. So they're different to stars in how they appear in the sky. They just sit there, and you can see navigation lights on them. Unlike an aircraft, they don't move. Or they do move, and then they can hover. From here, although the object is in space, one could wave to them and they'd see it.